Hey guys, how you doing? Russ here, Ask the Wizard. You kind of know all that stuff, but I'm just going to flip over here, do a sound check, and then also I can pull up your comments. So just hang tough. This one computer is really slow tonight. These crazy things, they really do have a mind of their own, don't they? Um, so I'm not broadcasting through my phone, right? And so, oh, there we are. Not broadcasting through my phone, so I will not see the little icon pop up, right? So if you guys wanted to, I'm just going to start this now and turn it down. If you guys always want to hop into the comments and say hi, that would be cool. I'm just actually bringing it up right now so I can see it on the other machine. So I have a monitor here, Mr. Flipchart's here, and then a monitor over there. So there we go. So, so if I'm doing this a lot, that's why. Well, guys, how was your weekend? Yes, it is Sunday night. I haven't done a workshop or a Facebook Live / workshop Sunday night for quite a while. Some house, yeah, my one computer on this side is just acting up. So you're probably commenting it and I'm not seeing it. It'll catch up sooner or later. I tell you. They're amazing, these damn things. Anyway, okay. So, oh, there, it caught up. Hey, Melissa, there. See, I can see you now, so I should be able to hop over here and go, hey, like, there we go, and now we're working. Hooray for us. Okay, just a couple of housekeeping things. A lot of you folks, and I'm going to move over here. Look at that. See, there we go. So a lot of you folks already know this, but we're also broadcasting live on YouTube. So if this is the first time you happen to be watching us, and if you're watching from YouTube, and even if you're watching from Facebook, if you want to do me a favor, that would be wonderful. At some point in time, if you hop over to my YouTube channel and you can just go video. So, oh, see, I can type. So if you go video.healingcenter.ca, we'll get into the topic right away here. And you'll see a button. So if you're watching this on YouTube, right below, you see the subscribe button. If you would click on that, that would be wonderful. And if you would click on the little bell, that would be even more wonderful. It definitely helps me out. The more traffic that YouTube sees me attract, the more attractive the videos are. And for us, it's always about getting the message out there to as many people as we can. That's what we're here for. So anyhow, if we go, I got to get my directions right. So this way, there we go. So there's all the contact information that you can always find out about us and what we've got on the go. Okay. What were we watching? So you got to check this out. I think it's on Prime, if you have Amazon Prime. So it's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. And it's a series. It's really funny, actually. It was really kind of good. Anyway, he talks about how you can't turn your back. Oh, what was the word? I don't want to say destiny, but it was kind of something like that, right? You can't turn your back on your purpose, that type of thing. And isn't that true? It's kind of like once you wake up, and so many of you guys that are watching this know this, once you wake up, you can't go back, right? It's like you can't unremember, right? So this one is acting a little bit funky. So if you do post a comment and I don't acknowledge it right away, it's because this computer is having a bit of an issue. But anyway. Okay, into the topic. So let's introduce, many of you have already met Mr. Flipchart, but let's just bring Mr. Flipchart in. Hello, Mr. Flipchart. And Mr. Flipchart says, hi, everyone. Okay. So, I don't know. I guess maybe a little dramatic in the description of this. Emphasis on a little, especially right now in these crazy energy times, that because it's the environment now is so marinated in, to use a simple word, not an inaccurate one, fear, which is very reactive, right? So when we're in that, and this is kind of a general label, but I'm going to say that energy or that vibrational space of fear, we're very reactive. And of course, everybody is marinated in that now. So of course, it's react. And therefore, trigger. And often this is the kind of the process goes trigger, right? And then we do this. trigger, and then we react, right? And what's really interesting is in that equation, this is kind of not even part of the process, right? The trigger comes and then we react to it. Now, here's what's really interesting. Oh, this is interesting. Sources, wisdom is showing up early to the party. Is the formula, and I'm going to add another piece to it. Actually, we'll just take this all the way for now. I'm going to go back to here. So go away. So there's the trigger. Then there's something in here. And then there is, I'll just do this, the reaction, right? So when we react. Now, what causes us to react, right? So why is it that some things cause us to react, cause us to be triggered, cause us to go off the rails, however you want to phrase it, and some things it doesn't? Well, it's this piece in the middle, right? And the piece in the middle, I'm going to draw another picture for this, but just while we're here, is this. And breaking that down into something that we can manage, because that's really important for this, is we feel it in our body, right? So there's the trigger. And what's triggered, right? It's a sensation in our body, right? We could give it an emotional label, but for now, let's throw the label out, because what an emotion is, right? An emotion is two parts, right? There's the label of the emotion, and then there is the physical description or experience of it, right? Whatever those sensations are that we feel. So there's the external trigger. Then there's the sensations when we feel in our body, and that triggers the reaction. So here's what's really interesting is the trigger does not initiate the reaction. It's kind of interesting. The trigger causes the sensation. The sensation is then what initiates the reaction. Okay, I'm going to draw that in another way. Oh, and by the way, many of you guys know this, but and this is a cool graphic, so I don't think I added audio to this, so I'm just going to pull a graphic over and then bring it back again. The charts and the triangles and the spirals and the circles that we call geometrics, right? All right, this is kind of our version of the 10 Commandments. Let me bring back where's Mr. Flipchart? There he is. Our version of the 10 Commandments, these again, maps really is a very accurate way of describing them. And what's so valuable about these is, as it says in the description of geometrics, right, is it gives you a tool that you can take this map and you can go, okay, this is what's happening, right? So you got some understanding, right? This real world understanding, this is what's happening. And all our workshops are based on these maps, right? And many of you guys have seen them in person or virtually through things like this. You can take the map and you can do something, right? You can start to work with your experience, with your life experience, and manage things and create things and things like that. Because I know this and you know this. When you really need to use this stuff, you're not going to have the time to go, hold on, I went to a course. Wait, it's over here. I got to get the manual, look at the course, and then do whatever you got to do. It's got to happen now, right? And so this next map I'm going to draw is one that you guys, I'm sure, have seen. But it's a map that you can use, and you can play this back, and a lot of our kids, all our kids, actually take a picture, maybe you're one of them, take a picture of these maps so they have it on their phone, so feel free to browse through the video again. I'll bring the flip chart to full size here, just so it's easier for you guys to see. Where is it? Let's try that one there. So it's easier for your guys to see like that. Okay. This map, many of you will have seen already. So we've got a circle here, a circle here. We call this our physical, non-physical. This is also a diagram of your being, right? Body, soul, spirit, right? And then this, I forgot to take off. Well, that's terrible. But anyway, I've got all these things. And one of these have got a little chain, like a keeper chain on it. And when I'm down on the flip chart, there's a big ass magnet down here. So it catches the chain, but we're working with it and we'll be good. Okay. So this we call your I am, right? So your soul, your spirit, your higher self, right? And again, many of you have seen this. And this is what we call our physical world, right? Amazing how well these devices work and all the things I'm pumping through them, and they're just keeping up really, really well. This is the aspect of your personal experience, or your present moment experience, that you experience with your five senses, right? And again, you guys have seen this, I'm sure, many of you. This is, whoops, senses. Okay, this is what we call non-physical, right? And the building materials, the building blocks of this are our thoughts, right? Now, just one comment on this. And this is why we divide this into physical and non-physical, because so often you hear talk of like physical and then energy or energetics or things like that. And then the connotation is like energy is sort of different than the physical. But of course, as you guys know, everything's energy, right? It's, vibrating in different frequencies. We just experience it in two primary ways, right? One, the physical, and one, the non-physical. But the raw materials is energy. So what is kind of cool about this is the thought is just as real as this coffee I'm drinking. Now, I can't put a thought in a cup and drink it, but we can all agree that thoughts are just as real, sometimes almost more real than the coffee, right? Okay, so I'm going to add one more piece to this. We'll use pink. So you've got your non-physical, you've got your physical, we talked about that. You've got we call it your I am, so your soul, your spirit, your higher self, right? And then right here in this buffer, and this is really what we're going to focus on for this, we have our body, okay? So our body, and kind of in a way like this map here, right, where we had the trigger, the body, and then the reaction, right? The trigger is often in the physical, right? The reaction often originates in the non-physical. And of course, there's our body in the middle, right? So when we look at this, we've got our non-physical, our body, and the physical. So our body is almost like this translator between, I'm going to sneeze, this translator between our physical and non-physical hemispheres in our experience. Okay, so here's what happens. So the trigger comes, right? So here the trigger comes, shoo, the trigger comes here, right? And we sense something, right? So we sense something in our body. Okay, so we're not going to label the emotion now, right? We sense something in our body that are sensations that we find uncomfortable. Okay, so that's how you know you're experiencing an emotion, right? Because you're feeling something in your body. That's an emotion, right? An emotion is a sensation in your body. Okay, so this is why this is really valuable. So here comes a trigger, right? Whatever it is, and sometimes, and especially now because things are just so strange, the trigger can appear to appear in the non-physical. So what do I mean by that? All of a sudden, this is really good, especially because we're in this strong, energetic craziness, right? So your body is immersed in that, and it's moving this energy back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So often we may pick up triggers, if you will, that aren't even our triggers, but we're marinated in this. So we end up picking it up. Now, have you ever had this experience? You're bumping along, things are going well, you go to the mall or something like that, right? And all of a sudden, you start to notice thoughts that are not the thoughts that you would like to have, and you start to feel things in your body as you think about or notice the thoughts, right? So that trigger flows from here, or even here. But the key that we're looking for is that you feel sensations in your body. So if you're not feeling any sensations in your body, then there's really no emotional managing that you have to do, right? So we're not really concerned about that. What we're concerned about right now is those ones that you do feel it. And so Let's go back to here. And so here's what happens, right? And now this is where we come into the two strategies, right? So one of two things have happened. There's been this external trigger that's come in, right? And you feel something in your body, right? Or you're just kind of bumping along and you start to notice these thoughts, which then cause you to feel something in your body, right? And then, of course, either one, you're feeling something in your body, right? So what do you do? Okay, this is the two strategies. And what's really interesting is so much of what we teach is an amalgamation of not just what we've heard through source wisdom and through the maps, like I said, and the geometrics and whatnot, but from all the teachings that we've immersed ourselves in and kind of condensed them into really kind of the short notes that you can take and kind of use this shit, right? To do something with it. Okay. So we have our, I'll draw this again. We won't worry about our I am for now. Our I am is up there, right? Okay. We'll do this. We're going to do this. This is physical. This is non-physical, right? This is our body. Okay, so there's two strategies. Okay, so when do you start to apply these strategies? You felt something in your body, right? You felt something, right? So the first strategy is whatever the story, and I like if we could take the thoughts and really kind of just blend them into a story, because that's often what happens is these thoughts that you don't like. How do you know you don't like them? Because as they're playing around in your mind, your non-physical, you don't feel good, right? Your body doesn't feel good, right? So the first strategy, and to really boil it down to something really simple, right? That you can use, tomorrow, tonight, right? The first strategy is, and I'm going to try and write this in case you want to take a picture. Tell a better feeling story. Okay. So here's what happens, right? The story's playing out in your mind. They cause you to feel sensations in your body. You don't like them. Okay. So what are we going to do? So our first strategy is tell a better feeling story. Now, here's what so many people try and do. They try and take the story that is currently going on in their mind that doesn't feel good and change that story into something that feels better. Now, I'm not saying you can't do that, but I tell you, it doesn't take very long before there's enough momentum in your body, right? Because your body is where you feel momentum. I might have even spelt this right. Look at that. Your body is where you feel momentum. And so if you're taking the story that's causing that momentum or those sensations you don't like and try and change that one, it's kind of a little bit like this, right? So kind of a rule of thumb is a better feeling story. Two things. First of all, don't try and change the story that you're hearing, right? And second of all, so change it, pick any story, any story that feels good, because that's the whole reason we're doing this, right? We need to change the sensations in our body. So don't pick the hardest thing, pick the easiest thing. So typically that's a story that has nothing to do with the story that doesn't feel good, right? The second strategy is keep it really general. Right? So the general rule of thumb is you go from general to kind of dissipate the energy and change direction, introduce specifics to speed it up. Okay? So if you just kind of feel it, but it's, it's not too bad, not too bad, your first strategy is tell a better feeling story, period. Right? Again, usually don't try and change the story that you're currently listening to because it's got a lot of momentum going already. And the second strategy is keep it really, really general. Right? The more general you keep it, the more you're kind of get out of that thicket that you found yourself in. Okay, so that's the first strategy. Now, if you can catch it early enough, or if it's not too big of a trigger, right? Right? That'll probably work. Okay, but let's say it doesn't. Right? So what happens is that if it doesn't, what that means is the momentum is big enough that we're not going to be able to dissipate it just by working here. Okay? We're now going to need to change it by working directly with our body. Right? So now what we're going to do is what we do is we call it, so this is kind of heading it off. That's not the best term, but we'll just do it that way. Right? This one is you're heading it off before it gets on a runaway. I'll use that word. Now we go into strategy 2, which is we mitigate it. So what does that mean? Okay, what that means is that, okay, it's got enough momentum that I'm not able to kind of head it off at the pass. So what are you going to do? Now you're going to ride it out, right? Okay, something is triggered in me, right? I wasn't able to kind of dissipate it or kind of head it off before it got going, right? The momentum is already there. So now I'm just going to see whatever I can do to try and mitigate the intensity of it and or manage my way through it. Okay? Because every emotional experience, right, that we feel in our body, this is really good. Every emotional experience, or we could call it an emotional journey, right, in our body has a beginning, right, a middle, and an end. Right? So an emotional journey, if you will, or experience has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So the flow flows like this way, right? So it's triggered here. It reaches some type of a peak here, and then it goes back here, right? Now, there's all sorts of other teachings related to that, but for our purposes here, that's when I say ride it out or mitigate it, what you're doing is you want to allow this to happen without, it's like a pot that's boiling over. We want to turn the heat down. It's still boiling, but we want to turn the heat down. So we want to have it kind of go like this, not like this, right? So strategy 1, if you're just trying to tell a better feeling story, but it's got so much momentum in your body, probably what's going to happen is you're going to end up doing this. Right? Because it's already going. And the more you try and stop it here, it actually gets worse, if you will, or more intense. Right? So this is why strategy 2 is you're going to focus entirely on your body. Right? So we're going to go back to here. Entirely on your body. Now, this is where whatever, if you have any healing techniques or anything like this is where it's really valuable to use those. So, of course, as you guys know, our main one is Reiki. So what am I going to do? And this is what I do. I do my best, right? Believe me, this is always about managing and not mastering. I do my best to go, okay, where am I feeling it in my body? Like, what am I feeling? Am I feeling tightness in my stomach? Am I feeling a tightness in my chest? Is my heart pounding? Whatever, right? So wherever you're feeling it in your body, so what I will do, using Reiki in this case, and whatever modality you can, and I'll give you a technique even if you don't have any of those, is so I just run energy on that. Because there's something resident in my body. And so what I want to do is just kind of, like, it's like you're massaging it, right? So it has that beginning, that middle, and that end, because it will dissipate. Now, so often it doesn't. Again, there's all sorts of reasons for that, but just for our purposes here, right? So you're going to use whatever healing modality you can, and if you have one, right? But your focus is going to always be on your body. Now, your mind's going to be going 1,000 miles a minute, right? Your mind's going to be doing this, right? That's why you want to really focus in on your body. Focus in on your body, right? Feel the sensations. Right? Your mind's going to want to tell these stories and all this kind of stuff. You're not going to be able to stop that now. So focus on your body, because the vibration of your body is actually fueling the story, right? So what we want to do now is we want to do something to mitigate the vibrations in our body, right? What we want to do is whatever we can to just stay with it, stay present with it, hold space for it, if you will. Because as you do that, it will, and again, it's mastering, managing, not mastering, right? But it will start to ease off and start to taper off as you focus on what are you feeling in your body. And just, even if you just stay with it, even if you don't have any modalities, don't know nothing about nothing, right? Focus on this. If it's painful, then focus on the pain. But at least if you're focusing on the pain in your physical body, what you're not doing is fueling this, right? Because that's what happens, is it gets in this vicious cycle. So it starts doing this, right? So the momentum's triggered, and that vibration fuels the story, which creates more momentum, which fuels the story, creates more momentum, and then you're on this big ass runaway, right? Again, if you can catch it early enough, tell a better feeling story, right? I'm wrapping up with this. Tell a better feeling story. Strategy 1 and 2. The first one is don't try and change the story you're currently listening to that you don't like. Pick something else and keep it very, very general. Now, if the momentum is too much, that isn't able to do it, now you go to strategy 2, which is mitigation mode, right? And what are you going to do there? You're going to focus on the physical sensations in your body. If you've got healing techniques you can use, then treat it. Treat it no different than if you stub your toe, right? Just really focus on the sensations in your body. Resist the urge to get caught up. You're going to hear them. You're going to be aware of them. Focus on your body. Focus on your body. I did a blog post years ago. The title was, if you're grumpy, you know what, clap your hands, right? And that was the theme, is focus on the sensations that you're feeling in your body and stay with it, because even though it often doesn't feel that way, they really will have this beginning, this middle, and this end, right? And I mean, hey, sometimes it works better than others. Totally, totally get that, right? But these are some strategies that you can use to manage your experience. And especially now, this is so powerful right now, because again, a lot of times the triggers aren't even yours, right? It's just we're in this energy, which starts to affect, like the story that you start hearing might not even be yours. You might be picking up energy from somebody else. And then it's translated into a story, and people go, well, it's the voices in my head, so it's got to be my story. A lot of times it isn't. A lot of times you're just picking it up from somebody else. And again, especially in this fear marinated space that we're in right now. I mean, it's crazy, crazy times, right? Pay attention to what your body is telling you, right? If your body starts to feel that tension, starts to feel that, what's the story that's being told, right? If you notice the story first, and then the sensations in your body start, okay, use the strategies. Tell a better feeling story. If the momentum gets too much and that isn't enough, now you go to mitigation mode, right? And what you're gonna do now is you're going to ride that out. How do you ride it out? If you've got any type of healing modalities, use that. In the releasing techniques, you do that. But focus on the sensations in your body, because as you do that, it really will then start to dissipate. And as you practice this, again, and I'm not saying this is perfect by any stretch, but as you practice this, it really give you some powerful managing tools, right? Managing, right? We're managing our way through this, right? Living from the other side, right? We're managing our way through this. Cut yourself a whole bunch of slack, right? Just I am wrapping up with this. A while ago, I talked about I call it self-appreciation, self-care, right? So self-appreciation, and so many people we hear it from, they're having problems sleeping. They sleep, but they don't rest. Crazy things, like ringing in the ears, all that kind of people go, geez, all I want to do is sleep and stuff like that. Well, give yourself permission to do that, because we're just managing our way through this, right? And this really just kind of struck me today, as this is a really powerful tool. I'll actually bring it up just like so. So there you go. So that's the first one. So you can take a picture of that one if you wish. You'll just be able to hit pause, will work. And then we're going to go to this one. It's a bit of a mess, but we'll just do that for you. And you can take a picture of that one. We'll go to this one here, which is kind of without all the scribbles on it. I don't know if you want it, but we'll do it anyway. Then there's that one here, which is really scribbly. And you can take a peek at that as well. All right, guys, share. We're all in this together. I had a cool intro video. I think it's right there. We're all in this together. If you have any questions, wonderings, comments, topics you would like me to cover, you know where to find me. Ask the Wizard Academy. go to healingcenter.ca, right? And you'll link through to everything, to our online courses and the Zoom room, right? So the live virtual teachings and things like that. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the web. I'm going to end with the intro video because I think it's kind of cool. See you guys later.